In a world overrun with the fake, delusional, and disingenuous, he stands as a beacon of truth. He is Abuki Cabal. You are listening to Abuki Cabal.
What's going on, everybody?
Welcome to the Abuki Cabal Show.
I had a tough week. Lost a cousin who was gunned down here locally over some senseless nonsense. He was trying to get himself back together. Wrote a book before his passing and was trying to get himself together. And a couple of folks took that away from him. Also lost my grandmother today. I had the pleasure of being able to take care of her on her final day on this earth, and it's been tough. But while I was there, I had the opportunity to have some conversations with some older folks concerning some of the issues that we talk about quite often, regarding whether it was like a lot of the younger women today think it was, whether it was, really difficult for Black women to spend money without a man, or to have a house or property without a man, or to get an education, and how all these things that they say, and how they couldn't depend on Black men. And I think the consensus was that wasn't true. We even pulled up some old articles, even going back to the 1800s, even with my own family. And, my mother does genealogy, and she's worked for the state's historic commission. She also helps around the country tracking down hard to find information about Black people and their families from slavery on up to current times. So I say that to say this, that a lot of the anecdotal evidence that is presented, the stories and the narrative that's presented about how difficult life was made for Black women by Black men has been conjured up. And don't fall into that trap. Before you step into that, the darkness that is misandry, do your own research. Read it for yourself, unclouded by the propaganda that's been placed out there to make you see your own brothers, uncles, grandfathers, potential husbands as the enemy to your progress, because that's not the case. And I'll say this also, that the pursuit of education was never about being able to hold that above somebody else's head to hold them unworthy. It was always to be used as a tool to better yourself and your community. It was a way in which you served and not put yourself in a lofty position to look down upon others. And I hope we can get back to that. There's a humbleness and a responsibility that comes with education. You have to teach others. You have to have some integrity about the way you present information. You are not supposed to skew information to assist one side or the other. You're always supposed to be on the side of truth, and you have an ethical responsibility to do that. So today I'm going to take a look at one of my favorite channels. And we're going to look at an interview that he conducts with another young lady. And we're going to explore some of what she has to say and some of her beliefs surrounding other women as well as men. I hope you guys enjoy the show. Let's get to it. All right. Man, I love this guy's show, man. So this one, Black Woman Responds, with his titled The War on Average. You better put me in my place. Kevin Samuel started this conversation. This is episode 36 we're going to take a look at. Okay, and this is the We Need to Talk channel. You guys go out and go support him. You know, he's doing great work. I would say he is second only to Kevin Samuels. I think at this point, I think he's doing a great job. I think you guys ought to support him, get him up to his 1 million. I wholeheartedly support that. And hope I can help him in any way I can as well. And I hope we all help each other, you know, to get this message out, because I think it's very important for us to expose the the lies and mischaracterizations that are plaguing our community, and especially Black men at this point. So let's take a look.
If there's women out here who really ain't doing nothing, like, you know what I'm saying, they not even chasing no goals, no dreams, no nothing, they just walking at Walmart and a warehouse, and I want a man with 6 figures and a Birkin bag. How?
But those exist too. And I would say this.
Well, of course.
Most of the women who want the man,
okay,
the 1% men, are the women you just described.
Really?
Absolutely.
That's interesting.
Listen, it's the message right here. Black boy, tell me how you really feel. Cause I just wanna build with you. Black girl, tell me how you really feel. I wanna keep it real with you. I wanna live better, eat better. I wanna love better, sleep better. Yeah, I wanna feel so aligned.
Like I was asking before, do you feel like there is a problem between Black men and Black women, like a gap in understanding? What do you think it is, and how do we solve it?
Ooh, how do we solve it? Well, first, I do feel like it's a disconnect. That's a fact. I can say that the reason why I feel it may be more of a disconnect than anything is because Black men don't necessarily know how to set their standards more so earlier on. I feel like they allow a lot to happen earlier on and then feel some type of way later on. But it's like, why you didn't correct that issue before?
Things like what? What do you mean?
More like, I guess, the communication. Really, honestly, I mean, women, you know, sometimes we might be snappy or we might have an attitude or, you know, but if it's not set, like, that's not how we're going to have this conversation, or this is not how we're going to speak to one another. Because we, as women, we act out of emotion, you know. Sometimes we're not even thinking, we're just trying to get you to see what our point, and that's it. But I feel like sometimes it does take men, because you guys aren't as emotional, to not get on our level, but to bring us up to y'all.
But it's our fault. So we hear this a lot, you know, folks, we hear this a lot. It's still the man's fault. There's a propensity to direct blame to the man, yet ignore the fact that Black women don't listen to anybody. No one. Not their mothers, not their fathers, not their uncles, not anybody except for that person who's paying them, that person who's educating them. Now, they'll listen to them, and they're usually of another persuasion. They'll listen to them, and that's the standard. I call it looking up at Massa on the porch, and all your hopes, dreams, and aspirations revolve around that picture that you see up on the porch. You think your family is supposed to look like that family up on the porch. You're supposed to look at, you think that the way he treats his woman is the way is the image that you see up on the porch. Never mind that he's, after he, he's not, sexual with his wife. He would rather have sex with the women down in the slave quarter. He sneaks around. He's unfaithful. None of that. You don't hold him accountable for any of that. You just want all of the, the nice, clean white dress, the lemonade on the stand, the sun shining off of your skin, and you just living in luxury, and the reason why you don't have that is the Black man's fault as well. Never mind that the Black man is down there in the dirt with you. Y'all both are property. And then when you're not property, well, actually, you were only allowed to, to be married as a courtesy, but you could be busted up at any time, So you were never really our women, You were always considered to be an alternative sexual outlet for that man that you view as the better option up on the porch. So I'm not going to delve too much into the history of it, but I mean this is the narrative that's just been carried down and just given to them. And it's actually just made up. There's no history for this. And it's sad. And she's having trouble even giving him an example by which, Black men can even fix this problem. But she still pushing it off on us. But we'll let him talk here. Let him see what he thinks about it.
Level more so like, okay, I'm not really trying to hear this. So, I mean, or, she tripping, or that's not what it was, or that's not the perspective. It's more like, okay, let's bring it back. We're not going to be yelling. We're not going to be cussing at each other. Like, let's bring it back. Like, we can't have this conversation now. Then maybe we need to have it later on. But I do feel the value of what you're saying.
So one of the things that a lot of guys talk about and kind of complain about, especially in our community, is this idea that our women have that I need somebody who can handle me. Mm-hmm. I need somebody who can put me in my place. And Black men are asking, why does it even have to get there? Why do we, it's like trying to tame a wild horse or something like that. Like, why do we have to come in all aggressive and shut up and sit down and all that stuff to get a woman on our page or to, respect her?
I wouldn't say it's, because I feel like that's what it was at first for me. Like, I needed that rah-rah, like that alpha, that dominancy. But dominancy is, like I said, in just simple conversation, like correction is more so what's needed. It's that you don't have to be like, shut up, or, don't do this and then that. I'm going to smack you and all that. No, it's just a simple, okay, what are you doing? Like, why would you say it that way? Like, that's not what
I want you guys to think about this. When has that ever worked? I've never seen a situation where that works. If you even have to have that conversation with the type of woman that requires that conversation, she's not going to be receptive to why do we have to get it to come here? Why do we have to It's not a subtle nudging of correction that's going to fix that, because she feels like at different levels in her life that she still doesn't need you. You can't tell me anything. How many times have you heard you ain't my daddy? But she wants you to act like her daddy to some degree. You know, and you know, she's talking about when she was younger, this is the way she was. See, it's an adrenaline rush, being with a man and having this man grip her. And, you know, they say they don't want these things, but then they do want these things. When they poll women and they ask women, you know, about aggressive behavior from men, you know, and they talk about it in a romanticized kind of way, these women love it. But then when it's actually being shown in a way, they don't respond to it the same way. So you can't have it both ways. You can't want to be corrected, but then when you're corrected, you're an abuser. It's just not that way, you know. And let's face it, most of the situations that you see, Black women are verbally abusive far more than men are, you know. And in response to that, you know, men retaliate. And it's, well, you shouldn't do that. You should have some self-control. You shouldn't, you know, and it's always us men having to control themselves as in response to some sort of verbal violent attack or some physical violent attack. You're expected to control yourself, but the woman is never supposed to hold herself accountable for any kind of outburst or negative action, and that's not right. That's not right. And that plays into that femininity aspect that we want in women, and that's that softness, that requesting out of love, out of that softness, which they always think as being some almost slave, you know, dropping your eyes to the ground and you know, being, you know, overly humble and, you know, almost as if a slave like mistress or something, you know, that's their view in their minds. But it's not what we're talking about. But no matter how we try to get them to bring it down, it's being characterized as subservience, you know, and that's not what it is. So this is a mental picture that needs to be eradicated in their psyche, that they're holding the rest of us hostage to. Let's move on.
I mean, you know, or, you know, some simple corrections, sometimes simple corrections could switch our whole attitudes, because it makes us think like, damn, did I just really snap on him like that? Oops, I'm sorry. You know, then it makes you think. But if, like I said, you match that level or you just tone us out, you know we're going to keep going.
But if that becomes the expectation.
Can't help it. If you match my level, I'm going to continue to escalate the situation. You hear what she just said? Y'all rewind that back and then you listen to what she says and you look. It's like an unsolvable problem, because if one person doesn't back down, it's like a negotiation process. You know, we have a goal here. I think they lose sight of the goal itself, and it's all about winning for them. But if you're a negotiator, if you're, you know, negotiating for whatever, military, a government, whatever, you come in and you have certain things, certain goals that you want to meet, and you have certain concessions that you're willing to put on the table in order to get what you want. So you're going to have to give something to get something. But if you're in a situation where you're not willing to negotiate and you're just up there, you know, just for the sake of show, nothing will get done. And I think that's what we're seeing here. Nothing is getting done because one side is already conceding. Okay, I'll be nicer. Okay, I won't talk loud to you. Okay, I'll get you a house. I'll get $100,000 and then maybe you'll treat me better then. Okay, I won't ask for sex as much. Maybe you'll treat me better then. I'll act like I don't like sex as much as I do. Maybe you'll like it then. All while providing everything that she requires, but she's not providing you but a quarter of what you require. And they think that's fair. But let's move on.
If it becomes the expectation of, whenever I pop off, or whenever I get rowdy, he calms me down, doesn't that in a way incentivize that type of behavior? It makes that the standard. As opposed to both people are adults.
I take a little bit of an exception to the question because I think it incentivizes it if that's her drug, if she reacts to it like that's her drug, that's what gets her moist, is by you basically putting her in her place every time, then yeah, that is incentivizing ignorant ass behavior. And I think to some degree, some women are like that. I'm tell you a little story. My uncle was dating a woman for quite some time. And, they were sweet to each other and stuff. But then when they fought, they would beat each other bloody, and then would be kissing each other and go off and having sex and whatnot as if nothing happened. I thought that was the most twisted shit I'd ever seen in my life. But it showed me that that's out here. And I saw different aspects of it. I had another friend of mine that was in the military with me. This guy was a Golden Globe boxer, but his little Hispanic wife used to whoop his ass. I thought he was fighting over the weekend and having fights, having title fights, and he was getting his ass beat by his wife and not responding, because if he did respond, guess what? He'd be charged. So he has subjugated himself to a violent altercations, from a woman, and no one cries for him. No one bleeds for this man, or any man who has to concede the majority of what he needs to be happy in life, while giving 100%, 120%, 150% to some of these women, and still is being characterized as coming up short. Give you a case in point. Look at Will Smith. He's this man top tier, and his wife been dragging him for, the last 3 years. And, he's providing everything that any woman could possibly want. And this woman still wasn't happy, But we'll get into that at a later date. So let's move on.
And both people come into the conversation maturely.
See, a lot of times we do come into conversation maturely. It just turns into that way because we don't feel like we're listened to, or we don't feel like our point is being valued, or our issues being valued. This is really...
We feel like we're not being heard. We feel like we don't have any value. We feel, and what she should be saying feel, and we have this perception of, but perception is not reality. It's something that's internal that needs to be fixed for you to see that you are being valued. Sometimes in therapy they do an exercise where they ask you if the way you see things, and the way you perceive it, if you had to present that in court, would it stand up in court? The way you feel and the way the action is actually being done. And, in this exercise, it basically makes you isolate your perception from reality. And I think a lot of folks need this, men and women. But I'm seeing, this is, and I want you guys to think about that exercise throughout this. Your perception, would it hold up in court? If you had to present this before a court, would this be accepted as the truth? No. Something that's in your mind. It's mental.
Just me being a woman based off the conversations I've had with men sometimes, especially men that I'm in a relationship with. It's like I come to you with my problem or my issue, and now we reverse the issue to what I did. It's like we never even talked about what the issue, like my issue. We just really just went to yours, and now I have to defend myself. And I'm like, oh, okay. Now your problem is solved, and we're not gonna go back to mine because now you're ready to move on to the next.
This is called a lack of accountability. No one wants to hear that I could have done things differently so that this never came about in the first place. Okay? That is a way so that the problem never happens again. Okay? So you can either present that in the beginning or you can present that in the end. But at some point, it's going to have to be presented. But no woman likes this. No woman likes this. They do not like being held accountable for something that once it's explained to them from a man, then it sounds stupid to them because it's like, why didn't I see it that way? You remember when she said that, okay, you're more logical and we're more emotional and so that's why you see that she's talking about problems that will come from an emotional standpoint that after explained appear dumb, but she doesn't want to appear dumb. And he may not even see it that way, but he's explained it to her so that she doesn't do it again. So you learn from your mistakes. That's how you grow. But let's move on.
Next thing. So now that's why we got attitudes and we sit here, we got resentment. It's like, dang, man, we can never just let it out and it be like, you know what, hey, that was not even a perspective. That's not even what it was. Because a lot of times it's all about perspective. But if the communication isn't already there to where I know, how you move or if I know you, then it really shouldn't be no type of miscommunication because I know you. I know you wouldn't move that way.
See, here's another deal. Well, if I'm with you and I know you, then we really, our communication is the problem, but then communication is a necessary. You see how you can't have shit both ways. Communication is always, and communication rarely needs to be nonverbal. Sometimes we have to talk things out to properly assess what's going on. But, there's this feeling that, why are you talking to me like that? Why are you, why don't you just listen to what I'm saying and not just be judging me? That type of stuff. You know what I'm talking about. This is not rocket science, but you see the same types of issues from younger folks as they get older. And once they get to a certain point, it's like, damn, I'm looking at this from a whole nother angle, but she's not there yet. Let's move on.
Are a lot of women defensive? Just off top.
I think so.
Baseline.
I think so. I mean, how can I say this? I feel like men act like they don't know other men. Like they don't understand how men operate out here in the real world.
Because they want you to be accountable for that other dude. But you can't, I'm not accountable for the other dude because I didn't do that to you. So why am I being held accountable for that other dude? And that's the whole deal. Even with the thing with Beyonce's mom, it's like Beyonce's mom came out here and lied about black men, and black women are only talking about their experiences. Well, I'm gonna tell you, I've had friends who have listened to the stories of other women, and they will carry that shit as if it happened to them for years, and have the emotional damage as if it was real, like it happened to them. And then when you sit up and you tell them, and I did this with a close friend, I said, look, why are you carrying these bags for these other women? That didn't happen to you. You don't have any kids. You don't have any baby daddies and whatnot. So why are you so pissed off? She had to think about it, but came to the logical conclusion that, damn, you're right. So being feeling creatures, as women are, they tend to carry bags for everybody else. It's just like Erykah Badu was singing about Bag Lady. You're going to hurt your back. Carrying all them bags like that. It takes you getting to a certain mindset, a certain way of thinking in order for you to see things as they are and not as you perceive them to be, as through other people's perceptions of reality. No. You have to be objective about these things, not subjective. All right, let's move on.
Like, you don't have homeboys and they talk all that mess about what they do to women, or how they act in front of women, but know that women go through things. So our trauma, granted, not saying that men don't go through anything, but in my opinion, if you don't speak on something, do you really go through it?
There's another deal. If a man doesn't say anything, has he really ever gone through anything? But then the minute that you do speak up on it, you're soft, you're too emotional. Then they get off into this sign language. Oh, you must be gay. You know, you ain't no real man. You know, all of that, you know? So you can't win for losing because you keep having to reestablish your dominance in a situation and your manliness in a situation. Men are constantly on attack footing. You know, you're constantly trying to brace yourself for the next attack. Think about living like that, you know? And then women try to say, we're like that. We're constantly being attacked. We're constantly this, we're that. How can you be the most educated, the most in college? You know, you're making the most money, according to them. And you're still a victim. I think you cannot pride yourself in this victim ideology, and there's no evidence to support what you're talking about. And why is it such a tasty morsel, you know, to consume for women to be out here listening to all of these stories and looking at this reality TV and watching all of this ratchet shit, and then making every man in their life after that pay for it? Well, he could be cheating. He could be, you know, messing up the money. He could be, I should be taking trips. I should be this. You're constantly living up to a standard that is not your own. That's not even real. And then you're looked down upon for not meeting a standard that's fictitious. So, you know, these women need to start looking at themselves. And I'm not the only one saying this. You know, I know a lot of Black women who feel the same way that I do, is that some of this has to come to an end. You know, I had a conversation with my mom while I was over with my grandmother, and I said, okay, let's go through and let's look at how many Black women had college degrees in the family from the 1800s up to as far as we can go. There were more women with degrees than there were men. Then we started looking in Jet magazines, going back and cataloging all these women who had, you know, these college degrees, who were doctors, who were, you know, lawyers and all of this stuff. But they would have you think that no one was educated. No one was able to spend any money. No one was able to do anything because of the subjugation of Mr. And that's just not the case. But you still see her. It's almost like it's ingrained in her genetics that we can't be trusted. But let's move on.
You feel me? Because it's like at the end of the day, it's like, why would you, you know, saying not speak up? And women, we speak up too much. And men don't speak up at all. And now we're in this miscommunication where it's like, dang, I talk too much. You act like you can't talk to me. So now I'm the bad person. Or now you the bad person, you know?
Do you think, that's interesting. Do you think that Black men deserve more empathy from Black women?
100%. But they have to allow us to be empathetic.
How do you do that?
show emotion. Be human. It's okay to cry. It's okay to be mad. It's okay to go through things. It's okay to open up. The issue, I guess, in my mind.
No, it's not, because if you're angry or you speak up or any of those things, then you're deemed as toxic. You're a toxic male. You know, you're just trying to subjugate the woman by basically, overshadowing, her needs with your own insecurities. How many times have you heard that?
Is you don't even trust me. You black men don't even trust black women enough to really spill out how they feel. Not necessarily. I mean, sometimes, I get it how women be like, maybe too sensitive. You can get too sensitive, or, some women may feel like that's sad, but a lot.
See? Then she goes on and she acknowledges the exact thing that I just said. So how do you win in a situation like that? You don't even know how to react. It's like, okay, it's like you're a rat, and you touch the button, and you get a little sugar water, and they have it, coded to where if you touch the button at the wrong time, you don't get sugar water, you get an electric shock. You know what I mean? After a while, you're going to have that rat so damn scared to do anything, it's going to be immobilized. So that's kind of what we're going through as a result of trying to please our women. Let's move on.
A lot of women never really was raised with a man around to even know, or if they were raised around a man, he probably was all macho and never cried, So it's really the standard of a man. It's like, dang, do you have to be strong?
Okay, let me ask you this.
Do you have to be strong all the time?
Why do you think black men don't trust black women?
I really think it's like they feel.
You ever think about that?
Because I'll tell you, but I want to hear what you think first.
Maybe they just don't feel it like they're going to be accepted if they are, as far as like trusting, as far as.
Let me tell you something. Before she gets into this, most women, black women, white women too, they think that it's easier to be a man. If you ask them if you could be a man, would you do it? I think it would be great to be a man. I think it would be fun to be a man. Okay. And then when you ask some of these trans folks who have transitioned from being a woman to a man, and then they're not being catered to anymore, you know what they say? It's nothing like I thought it was going to be. It's hard as hell being a man. Really?
With emotions and how they feel. Maybe they just feel like they just won't be accepted, Like maybe it's really like on some, and I can't even, she probably gonna think I'm a punk or something like that. Like, I can't even, but it's like, then it's like, that's how you gonna raise your sons? Like, it's like, dang, now it's gonna be a whole cycle.
Exactly. Now imagine every aspect of your life. You gauge that based on, if I react a certain way, I'm gonna be perceived as a punk. Wow, black women, support punks. Support everything about them, but don't support anything about a man actually expressing himself and what he really wants, what he really likes, whether it be sexual, whether it be money, trying to make money, whether it be his vacation wants and needs, whether it be sexual, anything. No, you're supposed to cater to her, and whatever she likes, it needs to be the way she likes. Above all, happy wife, happy life. All that type of shit, that's real in different levels. Goes for girlfriends, goes for everything. It's always, and that's a hold off from the Victorian era. They're talking about, oh, well, women were just being subjugated. Yeah. Well, look up how women were treated in the Victorian era, where they would come to them and everything was all, almost novelesque. You're coming to the woman, you're catering the woman, you have to go and woo the woman into marriage and all this, it's just over the top mess. I think that's probably some of the first vestiges of luxury and this idealized luxury, with the little, the dresses were, I thought they were actually a lot sexualized a lot more than people characterize them. The over accentuated fake big butts in the dresses. They had like a frame underneath and all of that. The cleavage being shown, the shoulders being shown. It's just a lot of that. And almost women being put into that queen-esque like stature, and men were almost just humbled, coming the one knee deal, the gentleman, the whole act of this being a gentleman and calling on the woman and all of these things. You go and you look up the history of that stuff and look at how women were actually being treated. They were put up on such a high pedestal. It's hard to find, black women in Victorian dresses, but black women were in those Victorian dresses too, and were carrying themselves exactly like the white women were carrying themselves, but we had our own separate societies. Black people were doing, debutante balls and chaperoning their children. I mean, the girls and all of that, to parties and all that. All of that stuff was going on. And black people were a whole lot more conservative about things than white folks tended to be. So what these people are not students of history. And because history has not been portrayed in a realistic manner, now we have a fictitious narrative that's floating around that is just, it's destroying the way we interact with each other. And watch her and you'll see it. You'll see that she wrestles with the real and the perceived in a way that is profound.
And now women are still here like, well, what are we supposed to do? Nah.
Yeah, she's confused.
Why don't men trust women? Please let me know.
I'm not going to speak on like men and women broadly. I'm going to speak specifically black men and black women.
Okay, cool.
As a heterosexual black man, you have a shorter leash of human expression than any other group.
Okay.
What I mean by that is, and I was saying this the other day, as a matter of fact, I was like, lesbians and white men get a lot freer range of human expression with black women than heterosexual black men.
Okay.
Because as a heterosexual black man, the expectation is that you're Tupac with a PhD.
Okay.
You're a thug, educated scholar, corporate nigga who's also like can fight and this and that. So you're pigeonholed into this very small box.
Right.
And believe it or not, our women don't let us escape that box because they select sexually for men who are close to that box. So what I mean by that is the sensitive dude that you went to middle school with, high school with, he ain't get no play. He didn't get no bitches, he didn't get no pussy, he didn't get none of that.
Shit.
So now, either he becomes more like Future, or the futures are the ones who actually, get selected. And then the women turn 30 and like, we're all the sensitive niggas.
Yeah, I don't want no sensitive nigga. I can tell you
But
that.
what I'm saying is not necessarily.
See? She says, why don't you communicate? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? All of the things that characterize a sensitive ass dude. A powder puff ass dude. Like Will Smith. Okay? But then she says later on in the conversation, I don't want no sensitive ass dude. Okay? You can't have it both ways, but you have this duality of need in black women that is so confusing. It is so it's so unnecessary. And I'm going to tell you something. This is physics. Men are going to take the path of least resistance. Y'all ask why hoes are winning? Because hoes don't make things hard. Okay? And if you catch a hoe at the right time before she reaches the pinnacle of her hoe assness, then you might be able to catch a happy medium. That's the hope. It rarely is the case, but That's why men get caught up in that, because you can get the sex that you want. You can get the conversation that you want. You can get catered to. You know, you can get your sandwich, you know? You can sit down and watch movies together. She caters to you. She wants to be with you. And I'm going to tell you, you can get the same thing out of fat women. You know? You get your fat girl, and she's going to sit up there with you. She's going to love you wholeheartedly. But you get you, a super cute 9 or a 10, even an 8. You know? And these women act like they are so high up into the stratosphere that you need a fucking jetpack to get to them. And it's just not, it's not realistic. Hell, you got 5s thinking that I gotta run fucking 2 miles and swim a fucking half of a fucking ocean channel just to impress them. You know? Now, guys, you know I ain't lying. You gotta have all kinds of stuff, you know? If you were a damn bird out in the damn wild, you'd be fluttering around till your ass was dizzy, trying to get the attention of this female bird that think that you should be a fucking ostrich when you just a fucking bird. I'm just a little bird, motherfucker. How can you want an ostrich? I'm just a little bird just like you. I'm flapping, motherfucker. Why are you not interested in me? I'm flapping like a motherfucker. I got a nest over here. Let's make some eggs. But it's not good enough.
Necessarily sensitive, but like we're all the good dudes, quote unquote. You selected them out.
See how that logic is just fucking her up? Logic is eluding her because her process was devoid of it from the start.
The market.
You're right. I guess it's...
And then we still get blamed for it. That's the crazy part.
I mean, you're definitely gonna get blamed from it because, I mean, ultimately, it's like, to me, those kids who didn't get any play back in the day, okay, it's confidence. It's not about, to me, in my mind, it's not about.
That's bullshit. That what she's essentially saying is fake it till you make it. Fake it till you make it. But how do you get confidence? Confidence just doesn't come about. You know, confidence is a result of doing, being involved, becoming proficient in whatever it is that you're trying to do. That comes after a certain point in education, in living. That's when confidence comes about. And that comes from being around other men, learning who you are first and presenting yourself in an authentic fashion so that you don't have to go out here and act like you're something that you're not. And then when you act like you're something that you are, and then she rejects that, be enough man to be able to walk your ass on and go catch you something else that probably which is what you need in the first place. You know? See, but a lot of times as a young man, you think that I've got to have that long-haired, mixed chick over there that's a 9. Oh, I got to have her. But actually, you don't really need that. What you need is maybe a 5, 6, 7, who's really realistic about herself, who is willing to work with you and not compete against you. She doesn't have a hot mouth. She's not argumentative. She's not trying to fight. She's not doesn't have an incessant need to see you commit violence to prove that you love her or to act a damn fool in order for her to be aroused. She's not overly trying to make you forever be her entertainment, her court jester. That's what you hear most of the time. It's like, entertain me. I'm bored. He's boring. Look, it's like, Chris said to old girl. She said, I'm bored. What are you doing? He said, look, your boredom is not my problem. I'm not here to fucking entertain you. And that's true. You're supposed to be with that person because you want to be with that person. It's not for get over there and do some tricks, do some flips for me, pull your drawers up in your ass like a sumo wrestler and walk around, make me laugh. You know, that's not what this is about. Let's move on.
Oh, your future, if you're, you know, a PhD, like none of that matters. Like as long as you're confident is A1, it don't matter who you are.
Now she's telling you, okay, as long as you're confident, but you don't have to have no money. You don't have to have no education. You don't have to, none of that, because none of that matters. Don't you ever in life believe that bullshit. That is being disingenuous and confusing to a man. This is not realistic, because any woman is going to want you. First thing she's going to ask you is, what do you do? Can you fix anything? Can you put some shit together for me? You know, can I call you to fucking fix on my car if I need to? They're going to first find something for you to do. Then if you can do some shit for free for them, oh, yeah, you're a candidate then. And then if you got some money too, that means we can go on trips and I ain't got to spend my money, in her mind. Okay? Then she's going to want you to be fit and tall, you know, so that when she take you around the other women, that they going to be lusting after you. But she's going to expect you to keep your head on, your eyes on the ground and hugged up with her and not have a taste for anything else. You know, not even look at anything else. So she can basically, she's going to be basically guarding your penis. That's what that is. You know, so those things are the things that she requires to feel like she's arrived. And then when she gets tired of you, she's going to say that you're boring, and she's going to kick your ass to the curb and go get a younger dude that has those three qualities as well. Because ain't nothing in the world that can get you over a breakup like new penis or new coochie. Okay? That's the real. But see, nobody's trying to deal with the real. Not on that side anyway. On this side over here, we telling you the real.
Where does it come from?
Within, self-love. It's the love within self. And if you don't have self-love, then now you're out here.
See, this is from these fruity ass books that they're reading. Self-love and crystal logic and you know, empathy magic, and you know, I'm drinking apple cider vinegar and shit. That's where this shit comes from. You know, instead of the tried and true, realistic, proven, battle-tested information, it's all this fruity ass shit. This all love languages and all of this shit. It's always a gimmick with women. If you notice that, you go back and you can look at every era, there's a gimmick. You know, now we got love languages. Before that, it was something else. You know, I might do a show on that because it's always a gimmick. If it's not a catchy line that they throw out there for them to latch on to, for them to romanticize about, then it's not something that they want. You know, there's always has to be some campaign to dedicate or to focus women's you know, mindset on what they should be wanting. You should want this kind of dress. You should want this kind of body. You should want this kind of ass because it's good for you. It's not what the men want, but it's what we want you to want for yourself.
You're looking like, dang, man, these women like this or these women like that. It shouldn't matter.
I'm saying
We notice the lack of self-love.
we have to be honest with ourselves. Self-love also has to, we operate in communities.
Yeah.
Self-love also has a lot to do with like how you're viewed by the external world.
I think
Exactly. I.e. societal pressure to conform to the societal norms, which that everything that we see going on right now is a process by which to nullify societal norms and make an anything goes culture.
it has a lot to do with how you're raised.
Absolutely. But it's easy to say, I love myself as a woman, or it's easier to say I love myself if you're attractive. It's easier to say I love myself as a man if you have money. It's harder to say external validation is a part of Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yes. My man. I got this in psychology and I got this when I was going through various medical training. nursing school. All of this is real right here. And this is what everybody needs to know when you start trying to break down your ideals about what's necessary in your life, what's needed and what is perceived as a need, and what is a want. Okay? Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
So like we can't throw that away.
No, I wouldn't throw it away. I guess it's like, because when you make your point, as a man, I can't love myself without, because I don't have any money. But it depends on your level of what you want for yourself.
See? She doesn't know anything about being a man, so she's scratching her head trying to figure it out and trying to get to what she thinks he's trying to get out of her so that she shows that she understands where he's coming from. But why not just say, fuck, I don't know. I don't know what it is to be a man or to try to present myself like that, because I wasn't raised like that, because I'm a woman. But I have certain expectations based on however I was raised, that this is what a man should show me. See, that would be a lot more genuine than what we're getting.
If you're a frugal man and you're a minimalist, you really it's not about money to you. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, and frugal minimalist men, are they the men that are sought after nowadays? Nope. Y'all remember this? His money is my money and my money is my money. That is the basic message of the modern woman today.
Want to live life and live experiences.
That's not true.
Because,
and this is why it's not true. What are the two things we say define masculinity? Two things we talk about all the time.
Greg, are you talking about like the whole general protect and provide?
Protect and provide. So in order for me to provide, I have to have something. In order for me to protect, I have to be something.
For yourself.
You can't divorce those two things.
No.
Yeah, for myself.
Not for yourself, for us. See, that's what she doesn't get. A man doesn't have the luxury of being selfish. This is so crazy. A man does not have the luxury of being selfish, because he's constantly looking to provide, looking for a mate. Once he finds a mate, he has to provide for that mate and his children, his offspring. But she doesn't get that, Now, I'm not like these other folks out here that say, okay, everything's all, Puritan and, she has to be, she can't have no whole tendencies and all that type of shit. I don't think that's realistic, because I think there's going to be some of us who are just not going to be realistic about what we like in women and what we want and what we find fulfilling in women. So that all of that cast aside, he's sticking with the basics, and he is spot the fuck on, okay, about this. And it has boggled her mind. Look at her face. It's boggled her mind.
Right.
And then for others. But you can't divorce those two things. So I'm encouraging men to first become the type of man you want to be for yourself.
Exactly.
Before you can be somebody for somebody else. But at the same time, like, this idea that you can still be confident and all that without becoming somebody.
Oh, yeah.
It's not rooted in anything.
It's really becoming that somebody is you. Whoever you want to.
Okay. See, she's muddying the waters. But okay, if you guys ever seen Conan, Conan, when he was, when it first comes on, he's with his dad up in the mountains and they're making the sword. Okay. So Conan tells his son, he's teaching his son how to carry himself as a man, about trust and how to protect his family. Okay. Now, he is molding Conan at a low level, and which will progress over time to make him a man who he should be. Okay. He told him that basically you can't trust anything in the world. You can't trust a woman. You can't trust other men. But this you can trust. And he was holding that sword, the sword that he and his son made. You can trust this. Okay? That's a lot more deeper, aspect of this. We may visit that another time also. But he started him on the road. Okay, as you go down the line, Conan got stolen away from his family, so Conan didn't get the other lessons that would made him into a man. So he basically was put on the wheel of pain. He had to walk that wheel until he was grown, but he was basically still a little boy in a big ass muscle bound body and didn't know how to be a man. So then he gets taken off to school and he's taught to be a fighter, but he's still essentially a little boy who's a fighter. Well, he wasn't even taught initially. He was thrown into the pit and then he killed his first man pretty much on accident, on impulse. So then the man who basically bought him as a slave took him and had him trained up, and then he just started killing, slaughtering everybody because he became proficient in what he was doing, which had nothing. And then they rewarded him with women, female interaction, but he didn't know how to do anything but just be barbaric. So then, this knowledge of self and wanting things for yourself and all of that shit sounds so good and everything, but really and truthfully, women don't give a shit about all your self shit inside. They don't want to even hear any of that shit. It's gonna ultimately come down to, what can you do for me? Sell this shit to me. Sell me that pencil. That's what it comes down to. Sell it to me. Sell it to me. That's what it comes down to. And if you come to them and say, hey, I got self-love. Baby, what's up? I got self-love. You know what she gonna tell you? If you don't get your fruity ass away from me, what else you got? Can you put this table together? Can you take care of my kids over here with Pookie? With self-love? No, you can't. You can't even make me moist with self-love, So you think about that. All this stuff that she's saying that she wants is not what the data shows. Nobody's asking for what she wants or what she's showing what she's saying that she wants.
To be. There is I don't believe people should be try to cookie cut themselves into what everybody else feels like or society feels like you should be.
That's exactly what everybody's doing. That's why everybody around here, especially women, the same eyebrows, the same eyelashes, damn near the same makeup, damn near the same lip colors, the same hair. One motherfucker got blue hair, the next motherfucker gets blue hair, the next motherfucker gets blue hair. One motherfucker got red hair, the next motherfucker gets red hair, the next woman gets fucking strawberry blonde, whatever. It doesn't matter, white, black, whatever. They all doing the same thing. Oh, well, they perceive men to like big asses, so I'm going to go get a big ass. Never mind that the asses that the men like are real asses, So it's this perception that they're constantly chasing after something in their head, and then they expect us to like it after the fact, all while ignoring what the fuck we say we like. It's insane.
You know what I'm saying?
What do you mean by that?
I guess it just goes along with just the point of, it's the outside world influence.
Listen, I want you to look at we're going to do a lot of these. Look at these women's eyes when he asks them, what do you mean by that? Explain that to me. Go deeper. Look at her eyes. When they start looking all around and shit, and well, what I'm actually saying is, that's confusion. That's trying to formulate an answer that will pass instead of saying, I don't know. And see, that's another problem. Most women can't say, I don't know, because then they think that's some type of weakness, and that it will be capitalized upon by us when we don't really give a shit about that. Now watch.
Is your self-love or your self-identity. And it might be a little hint in there is more on the lines of I like that and I don't like that. Not necessarily it's like they won't like me because of this or they won't like me because of that. I'm not going to get this because we're in 2022. You create your own world.
See, that's another thing they do. We in 2022. It was 2021. It's 1995. It's 1980. So what, motherfucker? Certain things don't change based off of the year that you're in. See, and that's another thing. I'm not doing what everybody else is doing. Well, everybody's saying it's 2022. Shit.
I get that.
So it's like now, it's like, I mean, especially when it comes to relationships, there's so many different type of women and so many different type of men. It's like, if you just don't want it for yourself, that's the problem. Like, it's to me, it's all
and
like
I agree
in
with
self.
that. I agree with that. I think
So if you don't want it for yourself, that's why you don't have it. You know, if you want it, you can get it. Let's go. You know, I guess that's that's this mentality. There's so much shit out here. If you don't get it, it's your fault. It's not that there's a perception of what you should be in order for you to get this. It's if you don't go out there and do what's necessary for you to get it, then that's your fault. You know, that's why you broke. That's why you don't make $100,000 because, you know, of whatever, you know, and it's a bullshit reality. It's a bullshit thought process.
the difference though is men, I think more than women, especially black men, understand that life is a competition. And we understand that I could be as fast as I want to be, but am I the fastest dude on my football team?
Right.
Or am I in the top 5? Like, we're always constantly ranking ourselves.
Right.
And the external world does it to us as well. Like, even our girl would be like, you know, Steven took his girl to Bora Bora. You only took me to Cancun. Like, we have to deal with that constantly.
Well, because you knew I wanted to go to Bora Bora. Why we go to Cancun?
But see, my point is that
you should have
external
saved
stuff.
up a little bit of extra money with the Bora Bora.
See? You should have saved up a little extra money and we should have went here. You know, but see, she's missing the point. She's missing the point that men accept being measured and our successes and our failures being measured. That's the way in which we become better. Okay? That's how you beat the impurities out of the steel. Okay? Whereas women are not receptive to that. It's just take me as I am. Don't beat the impurities out of it. Don't make me into the best sword I can be. Just take me as I am, crooked as fuck. That's them. You know? So you'll be walking around with a crooked ass motherfucking katana sword and shit, trying to hack up fucking vampires like Blade looking stupid. Which doesn't make any sense, but to them it makes sense.
That external stuff is important. Now let's transition because you just made a good point. Why do you think our women in particular put so much pressure on the black man? And I'll give you an example of what I mean. So one of our interviewees, his name's Poetic Styles, on Instagram. He said that the current attitude for women, and I think probably more so in your city, Atlanta, Georgia, is one of, if you don't make 6 figures, you ain't shit as a man. And we are comparing ourselves, and women are comparing men to the highlight tapes of 1% men.
Okay.
So why do you think that is, and do you feel like it's a problem?
I don't think it's a problem. Because we're I guess more so transcending into that wealth, the life of wealth now, where it's easy.
Yep, here it comes. Here it comes. It's not a problem because I feel like you should have that money for me. I feel like you should be that $100,000 man. Never mind, I don't know what the fuck shit costs. Never mind that I don't know how many people actually make that kind of money. I don't know, I don't know anybody that makes that money. And, I don't want to meet any requirements that man wants of me once he has that money, but I want all that money.
I'd say easier, but it's given to us in a simple manner. Not necessarily it's easy, but it's simple. People are really becoming millionaires overnight. And as far as women,
people are becoming millionaires. Who? Do you know any of them? Have you seen their bank statements? Are they renting those cars? Are they are they loaners? Do you know? Have you been to their house? Are you kicking it with them? It's TV. That's how she knows. TV and word of mouth. And the people that you see that are millionaires, were they rappers? They're athletes. There may be lawyers, doctors, whatever, in certain areas who basically live frugally to meet the level that they want to be at, but I can just about guarantee you that a man that has that is going to be a single man. He ain't going to be no married man. That's for sure. If he can sit back and live frugally and just use what he needs to live and work up to a certain level, yeah, you can. I believe that, yeah, you can get it. But then, she's not taking into consideration that money doesn't come when you're young like that, which most young folks do. And then once you hit your late 30s, 40s, 50s, and then you're making that big money. Then by that time, you're not in saving mode. When you're young, it's time, you got to do things when you're young, but you don't have the money to do the things that you want to do. You wish you did, but she'll be looking back on this and saying some of this same bullshit. This when she's in her 40s and 50s, still thinking that my 50 is the new 20 and shit. I'm still fine, so I can request all of this while not taking into consideration what men realistically want from a woman.
We want to elevate ourselves and our men don't want to elevate themselves. Then where does that leave us?
Our men don't want to elevate themselves. So in her mind, these black men don't want to get educated. They don't want to make money, which, yeah, we want to make money, but, they think that they really have bought into this. We're the most educated. We're making all this money. We're business owners and all that shit. But then when you start breaking that shit down, what does the average business owner make? And you got all of these women out here with these boutiques and, sundresses and, booty jumpsuits and all this type of shit, and it's just, they have this perception that the money is just coming easy. And I'm going to tell you something else that I noticed when back in the 90s is that all these books, something that I found that was very unrealistic, all these books in the 90s, early 90s, on up through almost to the 2000s, you had all of these books that were, the characters were these well-to-do, rich-ass people, who were, and I was like, I can't even relate to this shit. And then all of the women, when I was talking to them about the books that I was reading, it was like, why is it that you just don't want to support these black books? Why don't you? I said, because this shit ain't realistic. How many people do you know that live like this? I just couldn't even characterize it. If you look in some of the movies, you go back and you look at the movies are not realistic. They're showing these people in high rises, living these, upper level lives and shit. And it was like, as a man, I knew people were not living like that. But this was something that was being projected onto the TV. And then, when you're a more analytical person and you know that these types of projections are being put out there for us to become better consumers or more prolific consumers, bigger, more, but they don't see it that way. But they just want to continue to spend. I gotta have all of the boots to come out every fucking year. I gotta have a big ass closet, and then you you got walk-in. Everybody's got to have every woman has to have a walk-in closet now. I'm gonna see if I can do a poll. I got to figure out how to do a poll. How many guys that have a wife? How much closet space do you have, and how much closet space does your wife have, or your girlfriend have? I guarantee you that the men don't require as much closet space as the woman. It's fucking ridiculous. It really is. The consumption, the shoes, it's the dresses, the fucking hair. It's just the constant shit. And you stack that next to what it takes to do upkeep on a man, and it's a fraction of that cost. Actually, it's cost prohibitive for you to have a woman. And women don't even realize that shit. I mean, if you want some money, The one thing that's going to consume more of your resources than anything is your woman. But you guys hit me up in the comments and let me know if you think I'm lying. But let's move on.
Lonely, alone. But if I hate that men just take it so like especially when B. Simone had came out and she was on like, I don't want no 9-to-5 man. I want someone who's an entrepreneur. I want a boss. Da, da, da. And it was like, why? And men were so rah about it, like, hey man, don't nobody want her anyway. But why isn't that y'all telling men if y'all want her, then that's what y'all need to do?
We do tell men all the time that this is what, if you want this type of woman, this is what you're going to require. But also we tell men, you get a woman and a woman might be too much for you. I mean, hell, Will and Jada. I think Jada's too much woman for Will. Really. She running that shit. She telling him what kind of shit he needs to have, how he needs to be doing things, and yeah, he's spending his time trying to keep her entertained and all that type of shit. And where's it getting him? Where's it getting him? And then you got a person out here saying that she don't want no 9-to-5 man. Shit, that is the majority of the men out here. Why does it? I mean, it used to be you can't not have a job. Now you got to have a certain kind of fucking job, And then, I mean, all these women are acting like that they are light years ahead of the men, and you should be trying to come up to where I am. I mean, just listen to this conversation. It's fucking ridiculous.
At the end of the day, why wouldn't you want to uplift yourself to be on some type of level that they want? Because clearly.
And see, this is that you got to have vision, Willie shit. You got to have vision, Willie. We got to grow. We can't stay where we are. We can't maintain, Willie. We got to get bigger. And you know what? This go down to like when people are doing illegal shit. You can do it at a level to where it's maintainable, or you can get so big that you become way too visible and you get your ass blown out. All right. So to them, this is what they're going through. They're going through that getting bigger and all that type of shit. But you know what? With that getting bigger comes a different tax bracket until you get up there to where you with them other folks to where you can start, cheating like most rich folks do. So there's a vision, I think, that they can't get around, and it's sad. But let's hear what he has to say.
I mean, you want her, so how are you complaining? Because that's what she desires, or that's what she expects for herself. Because for herself, that's what she's doing. It's different if there's women out here who really ain't doing nothing. Like, what I'm saying? They're not even chasing no goals, no dreams, no nothing. They just walking at Walmart and a warehouse. I want a man with 6 figures and a Birkin bag. How?
That's the majority of women right there. Those women not doing shit, working at Walmart and shit, they saying they want a 6-figure nigga. That's what they saying. Fucking run the tape anywhere you want on fucking Facebook, fucking Instagram, YouTube. Run the fucking tape. Go run the tape on the motherfucking divestors and all of that and see what they're saying. See what they're saying. They're saying exactly what she just said, but she's saying that they're not saying that. Or that's not the women that are out here saying this. And those women are, and watch what he just says. Hold on, let's see.
But those exist too. And I would say this.
Well, of course.
Most of the women who want the man, the 1% men, are the women you just described.
Really?
Absolutely.
That's interesting.
What do you think?
Yeah, but she ain't heard those stories. And watch, here's the next thing. This is what she's going to say. She's going to say, I don't know them type of women. See, because that's the usual answer. Well, they ain't in my circle. That's what all these women, that was not the type of women that I run with. That's the whole deal with Kevin Samuels. I don't relate to that because I don't know any women like that. All the while I'm looking at her like, that's you, motherfucker. Are you serious? That's you and all the motherfuckers you hang out with. It is ridiculous. I mean, they don't even talk about knowledge of self.
I don't hang around those type of women.
Well, but okay,
because I can understand the women that I hang around. What I'm saying? I'm ambitious, so it's like it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, I'm gonna get it with or without a man because I have no choice.
What do you think the average salary of a black woman is in America? Give me.
I'm going to get it with or without a man. I don't have any choice. See, she's been indoctrinated. She's been assimilated into the bullshit. The bored queen got her ass. And now she's spouting off non-existent feminist tenets.
Number, ballpark.
Probably say about 40.
30 something. What do you think the average salary of a black man is?
50.
40 something. The reason I think that's important, and I think, men have to deal with statistics more so than women. I think a lot of times the measuring stick that women compare us to are unrealistic, unsustainable ideals. So if you go on Instagram, you'll think that they're.
And not just for black men, but for any man in existence. Now let that sink in. Out of all the men making the type of money that they think that they're asking for, it doesn't exist at the level that they are throwing out here, as if every man can provide that for them. That tells you that there's a level of delusion out here that is unprecedented.
A bunch of millionaires and six-figure niggas running around here. The reality isn't the case.
Oh, no, for sure.
And especially, I think what happens too, with our women, they know how to play the part, right? So you'll have a woman, for instance, she has a master's degree. And unfortunately, a lot of our women fall into this category. She has a master's degree. She only makes $50,000 a year, but she has 6 figures of debt, and she expects a high-value man. Or you have a woman.
Wait. Don't skip this part. How much does the average person with a master's degree make? How much does the average person with a PhD make? There are people out here with master's degrees making $30,000 a year. Yeah. Some of them are don't even have jobs. But out here saying that, niggas ain't shit. I know a few of them. I went to school with a few of them. It's some sad shit. It really is. I mean, y'all got to open your eyes. Open your eyes. And look at her. She's acting like, well, I've been saying this the whole time, but he's laying these facts on her and it's crushing her reality. It just blew out that holodeck fantasy that she has.
She has a PhD, you know what I'm saying? She's disagreeable. She's not a pleasant person to be around, but she expects a 1% man. So I think the problem becomes when women are looking down on the men that they qualify for.
Exactly.
And they think the men that are out of their league are the men that they qualify for.
I don't think necessarily.
Yes, it is.
Upon them. I just feel like more so they expect more from them.
Why?
How can you expect more from a person that has more than what you have? That man, I watched a show here. It was I can't remember the name of the creator that was doing it. But anyway, the lady was on there. She was a nurse. And, she said she made over 100,000. She said she's dated millionaires before. And, she was saying that this man that, she was with, she's, why you didn't stay with the millionaires? It's because he was too busy. Okay. He's too busy. He didn't have enough time for me. You want a man who is doing things, who's busy, who has businesses and all this, millionaire, making top dollar. But you expect him not to work to entertain you. You can't have it both ways, ladies. If a man is making that kind of money, you are not going to be his first priority. You're going to be his second or third or fourth priority, and then you're going to have to give it to him the way he wants it and cater to his interests, or you're going to be on the street. If you get in the way of his money, he's going to choose his money over you. And, but that never enters into the equation for these ladies, because they feel like I'm the table. He's gonna, once I get in there and I give him some of this used coochie, he's gonna flip the world for me. He's gonna want to be around me all the time. That's not the case, because Coochie's not a scarce item for him. He can get coochie anywhere, you know? So you're going to have to be the person who is above the rest of them. You can't be no lace front girl. You can't be no everybody's type of eyebrows girl. You know, you have to be whatever he wants you to be. And you're going to have to maintain his interests. And when he comes home tired, you're going to have to be rubbing some feet, and you're going to have to be, running some bath water, and, you're going to have to cater to that man. You might not be getting, wine and hot baths and all that shit. You might be giving that, because that's the type of woman type of man that you want. Whereas if you had this average guy over here, he'll come home from work, and you're going to be working too, because it's going to take both of y'all to maintain that lifestyle that you're trying to do, and trying to get rid of your, the most educated debt, because you don't know how to assess, cost to benefit ratio. So you probably do better with that guy who's going to come home. He's going to be catering to you. He's going to be happy to be with you. You don't want that. You want that guy in the book. You want the romance novel guy, the fictitious guy that doesn't exist. And then you'll tell yourself that he's still out here. He's out there. He's out there. I know he's out there. And you're going to search until you hit that wall at Mach 5. And then when you hit that wall, you're going to be on TikTok saying, I'm 60, but I still got it, in a tight ass dress, dancing around with them badass knees and shit, thinking that you still got time. Well, I pray that this message gets to enough of you so that you realize that you need to stop listening to these white women and start trying to figure out what is real, and start listening to the people that you are going to spend your life with, or the people that you want to spend your life with. Maybe they need to start having some workshops with these high value men to come out here and say, I don't want you. We don't want you. Have a whole damn panel of them up there so they can say the types of women that we want is this. Don't come around here with that bullshit. Okay? Maybe if we do that, Kevin Samuels, if you're listening, Unc, Godfather, if you're listening, you need to get you a panel of high value men together, have them up on the stage and have them, say one by one, white, black, Mexican, whoever the hell, Fruit Loopy, whatever the fuck color they are, have them come out there and say what they want in women and what they're accepting, so that these people they can crush this bullshit narrative out here, so that people can get back to reality. Because if you got folks flying out to Dubai, to do all kinds of fucking debaucherous activities in order to get money with these high value men, now nobody's ever asked the question, okay, well damn, if I'm married to that man and he's doing all that shit, am I going to be okay with letting him, fly girls out and continue to do that shit while saying that, he's not going to do that to me and, continue to live this good life? No, they're not thinking about that. And it's not, that's the extreme, but that's what you're dealing with. When you get up into the stratosphere with that money, there's going to be some requirements. And if you listen to these interviews, none of them want requirements placed upon them, because that is servitude.
And why not? Why shouldn't me as a person? I guess it's because she's expecting more for herself. I'm not speaking on the ladies who speak for work at Walmart. You know what I'm talking about? Because I don't know them. But I'm saying for those ambitious women who are actually going out, doing for themselves. And, granted, things happen in life, but at the end of the day, it's like, I see myself there one day, but I think it's all a mentality thing. I don't necessarily think it's like just because you're making this much money, that's you content with that making that much money. That's the problem.
What's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with it when it's for you.
No.
I'm just not the one for you. And there's no problem with that.
Yeah, we're fine with that. But then you're going to still be out here saying that men ain't shit because they're not giving you what you perceive that you are supposed to have. You know, and in language that the ratchets understand, it's you have real hair dreams, but you wearing a lace front. That's not realistic. That's unattainable. You know?
That's what it's like. Dang, it's like how, you know, it's kind of with the whole homosexual and heterosexual. Like, you know, homosexuality is so rah, but when men or straight men wants to, you know, they just want to say straight pride. They want to be confident in just now we at that point where it's like, dang, like I'm a man. You know, Adele just went on her award show and just said, I'm proud to be a woman. And they was mad about that. So it's like,
I think the reason it's even a conversation is because if it was one-offs, right? If it was like, you know, 1 in every 10 women wants a high value man and they feel like, you know, you should want more this and that would be fine. The problem is, especially in our community, 8, 9 out of 10 women don't think you're doing enough, ever. And they feel like they're deserving of 1% dues because, and this is a good point that he made in the last video, he said that we have been socialized to compare ourselves to the highlight tapes of the 1%. Not just the 1%, but also their highlight tapes. So what it creates is average people don't think they're average.
Exactly. And who wants to be with a woman who's constantly feeling like you need to be doing something? You off from work, nigga, you should be doing something. You just happen to take off. Why are you at home? You know? Constantly trying to make you do something around the house or go somewhere. When sometimes you just don't want to do that. You go out there and you work and you want to come home and you want to enjoy the fruits of your labor, your house, your solitude. You know what I'm saying? But they always got something for you to do. Take me somewhere. Take me, get me something to eat. Then when you go out to go get something to eat, choose it for me. I shouldn't have to tell you what to choose the meal. But then if you choose the meal, that's not what I wanted. You know, it's anarchy and chaos. You know, and no one wants that in their relationships. No one wants that in a woman. No one wants chaos. You want peace of mind. You want to be enjoyed, to be able to enjoy her, you know, to not have to worry about, you know, bills in excess. You know, you want to have some peace because that stress is the highway to hell. And what I hear in these interviews is, I want to give you some stress. I want to give you a healthy heaping plate of this stress that I'm bringing into your life to help kill your ass off so I can get me another one on the other end and take the money that you made and you left for me and the house and everything else and say that that's my shit and move on to the next guy and rinse and repeat. You know, men are dying faster than women because of the work that we do, because of the level of activity that we have to maintain in order to just make the basics. Now, if you are an above and beyond guy, you're doing even more than that. You might be working every day of the fucking week like me, you know, or, traveling, you know. This lady was a travel nurse. So, but she's in the fucking casino fucking off money, you know. To a man, that's bullshit. You know, I'm not finna go off and get him my money like that. You know, we can go do something else, but we're not fixing to do that, you know. And when you're with your woman, there's just supposed to be a certain ambiance. You're supposed to be able to take your woman to a black tie event. She's supposed to be able to fit into a fucking dress with her shoulders out. She's supposed to have the type of shape that you want. Now, I realize later on in life, she might swell up a little bit. But what use is a Ferrari if you can't drive it? No one buys a car that doesn't drive. It's non-functional. Nobody does that, But these women have this perception that, hey, I can be the most beautiful car, but never drive. Because I want to be beautiful for everybody that just looks at me, but don't ask me to do anything. And that's bullshit, Everything is imposed upon everyone else, for our entertainment. You should want to do something, that benefits me. You should want better for yourself because it benefits me, And it's just, it's selfishness of the highest order.
And they don't think they deserve average people, when the reality, most people are average.
But what is average?
It depends on what you're using. Are we using salary?
Right.
Or a lot of women are making.
Yeah, she's making it seem like, you cannot quantify average. This is that the way they murk up the waters and muddy the waters into, your perception of what average is not really average. There, two rights, there's always two rights. There's always, four sides. It's a fucking, it's always some obliviousness, that to where nothing can really be nailed down, but don't allow this.
The average amount, but they feel like because of my ambition and this and that, I'm not average. And it's like, you refuse to quantify things. That's the problem. A lot of women refuse to quantify things. So I'm not average because I feel like I'm not average, even though all the metrics say I am.
Okay.
Brilliant.
Is that a problem?
She can't wrap her head around it.
I wouldn't say it's a problem.
See, she can't wrap her head around it. Here's the ruler. The ruler says you're fucking 3 inches, but you feel like you're 12. Is that a problem? And now she's trying to figure out a good answer to counter this shit, so that it doesn't make women feel like they're less than. So she's thinking, I got to find a way out of this shit. That's what that is.
But it's like, I guess it's who made the metrics.
See?
If I walk outside.
Look at this motherfucking shit right here. Who made the metrics? Does it matter who made the motherfucking ruler? Does it matter? This shit right here, this is when, if you eating steak with her at the motherfucking restaurant, you take your fucking handkerchief, and you throw that shit on the table and say, I'm fucking disgusted. I can't eat no more of this shit. Where's the check? We finna go home. I'm finna take your ass home. Because you a fool. Now, imagine spending your life with a motherfucker that refuses to be nailed down on anything, in any conversation, in any argument. This is that repetitive disagreeableness that men are talking about. This shit right here. Now, this is, she feels like I should be able to want whatever it is that I want, whether it's unrealistic or not. That's what this whole conversation has come down to. And then she's going to say, well, who made the metrics? If you say God, she's going to find a way around that shit. Who's God? Whose God made the metrics? Was it Yahweh or Jesus? It's just, this shit's crazy, y'all. But this man is doing great work. I applaud you, sir. This is some great work.
And shit, 10, 20, 30 people, everybody I come in contact with me.
Anecdotal evidence.
If the conversation isn't on, is it really, am I just average? Am I above average because I'm in that situation, in that environment? But I will be.
And this is why average at best fucked up the entire world. How dare you use a metric upon me? Because everybody has a metric that we have to go by. Everybody. It's just like A through F. That's a metrics. You don't go up there and say, well, who made the fucking grading scale? You don't do that shit. If you in mathematics, you know, and they take your ass up there, you take your little equation up there and it's wrong. You don't say who wrote the equation. You know, you don't do no shit like that. That's crazy. But that's the world that we live in right now. That's this, well, who says I'm not a woman? What is a woman? Is a woman a woman because of what you say or because of what I say? You know? What's toxic and what ain't toxic? See, that's why we're in this situation that we're in right now. It's this fluid ass thinking, this non-realistic bullshit thinking where nothing is actually factual. Facts are a matter of debate. You know, that's where we are right now. And that's why having these conversations, once you realize that the person is on that way of thinking, all you can do is get your shit and leave. Get your shit and get, because this person is damaged. This is why we need to get back to reality, because I'm telling you, this is going to break down the very fabric of society if we're not careful.
The average, if I go sit with some millionaires, you know what I'm saying? Like, even though I'm ambitious, technically I'm average to them because I don't make as much money, but our minds are the same. So who really makes the metrics to say who average and who not?
Numbers.
To me, it's like really conversation.
Numbers.
See, I base my averageness on conversation. Because it's like, if you don't have enough, if you're a 9 to 5, you know, 9 to 5 working and don't even want to have experiences or grow and learn, then you're average to me.
See, this is what my daddy always told me was, bullshit ain't nothing but chewed up grass. So she just basically repackaged her bullshit argument, chewed it up, and then spat it back out and put it on the table as something different. And it's not. It's still bullshit that took up your time and now space.
And I think
No matter how much money you got, because you could be making $150,000 as a tech person. All you do is use 20% of your money and come home.
It's bigger than money. And the reason I
Right.
say that for men, and we understand this, I can, so I played football at high school.
Okay.
I was a quarterback, right?
Okay.
One of the reasons I messed up my knee is because I took it upon myself to go work out with the linemen, with the big boys.
Okay.
Right. So I can talk that lineman talk. I can converse with them the whole nine. But can I squat 500 pounds? Yes
Did you
or no?
know you couldn't squat 500 pounds?
I couldn't squat 500 pounds.
But you knew that before you decided you wanted to squat 500
No,
pounds.
but my point is, I can talk the talk of somebody who can.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, can I perform?
You could, if you talk that talk, and then you see what they're doing, and then you go ahead and you learn how to do what they do.
I can't. I was 180 pounds.
See, this is this is the shit I'm talking about. This is crazy. She feels like basically you can just bullshit your way through life. And see, this is why men need to be in men's spaces and women need to be in women's spaces. And these older women need to teach these younger women, because you cannot go through life like this. And then these women are going to try to go out there in spaces that are with men in them, and they're going to try to bullshit their way through that. After they've been put into the door's been opened up through this legislation and whatnot. And then you're gonna get off in there and you're gonna think that you can bullshit these men, and these men are gonna be going off of logic, statistics, and a metric, and and things that you can easily quantify things with, and they're gonna be using this fruity ass leprechaun magic and crystal theology. Trying to go up in there and bullshit their way into the boardroom. Now, how you think that's going to work out? You're going to look stupid as fuck. Stupid as fuck. Trying to do that. You cannot, you can't build a bridge on that fictitious shit. Things have to be measured precisely in order to handle certain weights and stresses based on mathematics and the physics of bridge building. You can't go in there and bullshit your way through and say, fuck it. I heard some motherfuckers in the club talking about making bridges and shit. I can talk the talk of a bridge maker. Shit. Let me up in that motherfucker. You can't do that. You can't do it. This shit sounds dumb as fuck. And they don't even know it. This shit to a man is like taking a bath and putting soap on a fucking piece of sandpaper and washing your ass with it. This does not make any sense whatsoever.
I mean, you could listen. If you would, all you gotta do is start slow. Okay, a little bit at a time.
That's not my point.
Listen, I know I get your point, of course. But my whole thing is it's genuinely like, yeah, you mean, that don't mean you can make you a lineman either if you just can squat 500 pounds. You know what I mean? You a quarterback. You feel me? You know how to move. They can't move like how you move.
The talk doesn't mean anything. If I think I'm a high value, and as much as we talk about Kevin Samuels, one of the things I do appreciate about him, and not about what he talks about with women, but with men, he says, you might think you the shit as a dude. What do the numbers say?
Right.
How many zeros on your bank account?
Right.
What kind of job do you have? What is your social circle comprised of? Right? Because until then, we hadn't really been putting people's feet to the fire. We hadn't been putting people, you know what I'm saying, next to a measuring stick. So can you be a good person? Yes. But in order to, enter this club of high value, whatever the case may be, you must make 6 figures. Right. And if you don't make 6 figures, you could think all you want that you're high value, but we have to put numbers to things. Why do you think women don't like putting numbers to things? Or do you think it's not a woman thing?
Mm-hmm. I mean, technically, women do put numbers to things if they expect you to make a certain amount.
See? That's that wild Mustang shit right there. It's rebelliousness just for the sake of rebelling. You can't go nowhere. Your ass you got a rope around your neck. You can't go nowhere. So you gonna buck and hump and shit just for the fuck of it. Just to show that I still got a little energy in me. And I'm just going to expend it just for the hell of it. Even though it doesn't make any sense, I'm going to be a wild-ass Mustang.
But they don't know what percentage of men are going to make that amount. 6 figures.
Oh, we're not gonna go statistics at all. It's not.
Why not though?
Because if we really go into statistics, then it's the ratio for men to women is way astronomical. So it's why are we even talking about it? Because in reality, it's gonna be, if the ratio is 1 to 22, it's gonna be 21 with nobody. So
see, that's called bullshit math right there. Well, the ratio to the fucking fifth square power of the level of men compared to the women is, get the fuck out of here.
What are we really talking about? You know what I mean?
But the problem though is
what?
And I've seen this.
And that's not even one. We might get half of one. We never even know.
What the fuck?
And I've seen this happen. So a friend of mine, he's between 6'6", 6'8".
Okay.
320 pounds.
Okay.
He didn't go to the NFL, but he's got his master's degree. He makes 6 figures, makes good money. Smart dude, interesting dude, well-traveled, the whole nine. And he was telling me that his ex-girlfriend treated him like he was a regular dude. She didn't do the math to understand how astronomically rare he was. Mm-hmm. So she could never really appreciate him.
Right.
So the problem of a lot of our women doing this is, even when they get that 1% man, they treat him like every other dude. And it's why would he stick around? So you guys get hurt in the long run.
Oh, 100%, because we don't have no examples. It's different if they're
Magic. Fucking voodoo magic, man.
See? Magic. That's what it's just fucking crazy, man. It really is. I hope you guys found this entertaining because this shit here, this is it. This just really, this did it for me. I was like, man, this shit's crazy. But this laid it all out there. And if you keep listening, you listen to Kevin's interviews, and you listen to We Need to Talk interviews, and you keep getting the same information over and over and over. Hell, Lead Attorney has folks on there sometimes. Same situation. You hear the same ignoramus ass thinking out of these modern women. And it's ridiculous, man. It is damn ridiculous. You guys hit me up, like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I ain't gonna long stroke you no more. I'm not gonna long stroke you no more. So, appreciate you guys hanging out with me. This has been more therapeutic than you know. I really need to get back on here and try to forget about some things. Appreciate you guys. I guess I'll see you guys next time.
I feel like a motherless child, a long way from home. A long way from